Seemingly in the blink of a fast-twitching eye, we've arrived at round 3 of the Aviva Premiership season, and we've chosen Welford Road as base camp this weekend. Dean Richards returning with Newcastle to the club he served for 22 years, first as player, then as coach, very successfully of course. And I was going to say it's going to be emotional, but knowing him as we all do, it almost certainly won't be. But I do have it on good authority that the man who is our guest today will blub at the merest sign of anything. David Flatman, you can provide the raw emotion today, but for Dean Richards, he has tungsten strength ties to this club. How easy is it to conduct business as usual?
I think for most normal people it would be difficult. He was here for so long and achieved so much. But Dino's not normal. This is a job of work. He's focused. He'll avoid the fluff and the flannel, but he will be anxious about the result at the end of the afternoon. His side are up against it. Leicester bring back in Manu Tuolangi, Toby Flood, Ben Youngs, piling on the bench, Jamie Gibson, really talented young bloke, making his first start at Welford Road. I can't see anything but a thumping victory for the Tigers. They lost last week on the road to Bath. They won't have enjoyed that, and they don't lose twice in a row, do they?
Not often. Now, Manu Tuolangi will be out there this afternoon. He was at Downing Street causing a bit of a stir with his bunny ears behind the Prime Minister's head. Were you tittering or tutting?
I've got to say, when I first saw that, I didn't like it. I want rugby to be gentlemanly and I want people to behave immaculately, but of course we know so much more about these blokes. They're so much more visible now that actually we realise they are just a set of blokes. They're characters, they're flawed, and I think really we love them for that. We see Manu playing for England and Leicester. He loves it. He loves smiling. He jokes around. So actually, I think all is forgiven.
I was tittering. That shows, I think, that I'm slightly underdeveloped in the sense
and a
of
bit
humour
older.
department.
Yeah.
A bit older.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Unnecessary, but thank you. Okay, let's see how round 3 shapes up. Harlequins continued the search for their mojo against Worcester at Six Ways. Winless Wasps were hoping to make it third time lucky in Salford at the expense of the Sharks. Here at Welford Road, the Tigers were sharpening their teeth for Dino's return with his Falcons. They were expecting a high-speed encounter in Reading as the Exiles took on the Chiefs. There was no easy way out of their early season troubles for Gloucester, who welcomed the Saints to Kingsholm. And something had to give in North London as unbeaten Saracens and Bath locked horns at Allianz Park. So let's work on a bog-standard timeline and start at Six Ways on Friday night. Harlequins provided the next test for Dean Ryan and his Warriors, who seem to have bypassed the honeymoon period you can often bank on when you've got a new man in charge. Jill Douglas was amongst the Worcester faithful.
They are, in many regards, the sleeping giants of the Aviva Premiership. First-rate facilities, incessant Duckworth, a generous and passionate owner, and an established and committed fan base. Yet in the 10 years they've been in rugby's top flight, the best Worcester have achieved is 8th place. Most years it's ended up as a dogfight to avoid relegation, not always successfully. And so they've turned to Dean Ryan, and they hope he can be the man to change their fortune.
You know, this year is what it is. We can't control a huge amount of recruitment. We've employed a fantastic coaching team, and we'll get the best out of this group. And we've got to make sure that no decisions we make in the short term compromises in the second and third, because otherwise you never get to that point in the future that you can see. So that's quite tough. It's tough for me. I'm not used to being in an environment that's bounced around week to week, but it's a good group and I enjoy working with them, and we'll get as much as we can out.
Sounds like the fans are going to have to be a little bit patient. What would you say to the fans here that come in, week out?
Well, support us. I can come in here and tell you a load of stuff that isn't true, or I can come in here and get people realistic and understand the challenge. And there's a huge amount of work needs to be done to get this club on the right track. And that's why I've come here. That's why I'm excited about it. I'd hate someone else to come and do it and get it right. So I'm pretty confident that we can, and it will take time. There isn't a quick fix, and it will take time, but it'll be all the more rewarding for it.
So Dean Ryan is asking for patience, and the Worcester Warriors faithful are hoping the match against Harlequins tonight can kickstart their season.
We need something different. I mean, we've had Richard Hill, and we've had numerous players come in promising this, that and the other, and we just don't seem to get anything new, and it's just I'd like to see him come out and just play to the end and do well. Hopeful for a win, but I'm always hopeful. until about 5 minutes after 5 minutes towards the end, and I think, well, this is it, you know. So if we're 30 points up, then I'll be happy, but if we're 3, I think anything could happen.
I think we're going to get there eventually, and tonight would be nice to sort of keep up with Quins, if nothing else.
Well, the headline news is it's not lashing with rain for our Friday night fixture, so perfect conditions for Worcester Warriors against Harlequins, with commentary from Matt Dawson and Nick Mullins.
Shervington goes long. There would be some element of irony in the fact if Worcester scored a try here. They've got the penalty.
1-2. It's a tackle. No, it's a tackle.
And I don't think they'll be taking a quick one.
Yeah, fine, but it's still a tackle, so they've got to go all away from the ball.
Well, it is hard to believe, given all the territory and ball that Harlequins have had, that the Warriors are still in this, but they are 6 apiece. Buchanan puts his head down. Rob Short takes it from him. Kerr with the acceleration. Kerr's running through under the posts. And finally, it's taken half an hour for Quins to breach the Worcester wall. But it has been breached, and Kerr's done it.
Just have a look at this from, I think it was Buchanan, the hooker. He goes into contact, Rob Shaw goes off and peels off beautifully. That's the difference. 5 yards break, take 2 players out, offload to Danny Kerr, who has the afterburners to score. I think that will probably make amends after that box kick from last week.
Beyond 15. More.
Taken once again by Easter. Once again the rumble on, once again the Warriors line in peril, and for the second time it's been breached, and it's been breached by one of the men of the first half, Joe Marler.
There will be a Worcester coach and Dean Ryan and his team begging for half-time. It's going to be a very long couple of minutes here, a trundle on. I mean, look at the Worcester players. None of the Worcester players are going into that maul to stop it.
Here goes Marler. His challenge internationally this season to get back ahead of Alex Corbisiero. Brown. High up Stuart Lancaster's list of potential fullbacks for the autumn internationals. Here goes Robson. Once again, Warriors defence on red alert. Brown. Oh, what about that from Brown? The quickest of hands to release the hooker from point-blank range, and it's taken no time at all for Quins to score their 3rd try.
Watch this, right hand, bang! And it went through both hands. That's an even tougher skill.
Beyond 15.
Line out one by Easter. Decent line out defence from Worcester, but they've still got a lot of shed load of work to do here to prevent Quins, who are once again playing against the defence shorn of a man. Once again the yellow card, and once again that defence under all sorts of pressure. Brown saying he's got the ball down.
He likes that.
He's saying he's scored. Wayne Barnes will look for a little bit more evidence, I suspect, but Brown was absolutely convinced that they've got the bonus point try.
Barnesy checking double movement.
Roger checking double movement, and any reason you can't. Roger checking. Stand by. Wayne, Jeff.
Yeah, go ahead.
You may award the try.
Thanks very much.
It is a try for Brown. It is a 4th for Harlequins, and it will be a very, very big 5-point win in the West Midlands on a Friday night. Penalty try. And he's been using his whistle against that man and his team for much of the evening, and finally he blows it and raises, well, perhaps a half smile from the Warriors, and they have some reward for their pressure for being camped on the Quins try line.
Thank you.
Botica looped into touch. Game over. Harlequins' biggest ever win here at Six Ways, and their 13th win in a row against the Warriors. Few, however, have been more emphatic than that. That was a full-on pasting.
we just got to accept that we're second best. There's an awful lot of courage. We'll play some stuff in the second half. We refuse to go away, but the contest is over, and that's just where we are. And we talk about it. We can't beat ourselves up. There's nothing. We were never in that contest, and so we've got to learn how to bring intensity to our own game. We've got to learn how to cope with sides when they do it to us. But that is the top of the league, and it is the top of the league for a reason that we saw tonight.
I think last week we were the Quins we want to be. If I had my kicking boots on, we probably would have got the result. But I think last week was really good. We took a big step up from where we were from Wasps. Wasps was very disappointing for us. That's not who we are as a team. And I think the last couple of weeks we've been near enough to where we want to be. We've still got a lot to work on. But it's early in the season. We've got a few more games to go and a lot of things to work on and make ourselves even better. So it was good. It's another step in the right direction for us.
We have a lot of tired bodies in there. You play like that, we have to look after them during the week, and we will look after them during the week. If they pitch up and play like that on the weekend, they'll be looked after during the week to get ready for Saracens next week, and hopefully the Stoop will be rocking.
So the most dedicated of Tiger supporters have bagged their favourite spots ahead of the game against Newcastle, which we'll get to later on. But let's have a quick reflection on Harlequins. In that first 40 minutes, how close to full throttle were they?
I think they were pretty close. They were outstanding. You had Danny Kerr being an absolute nuisance. Nick Evans back and firing as we knew he would be. Rob Shaw was just immense, and even more immense with Nick Easter. That sort of momentum being generated up front, that just pure force. And then the offload. The offload count was stunning. I mean, they're close, and not many teams are going to live with them.
How many teams in the Premiership could live with them in that kind of form?
I think you've got a handful, you've got a couple, but really I think you're looking at 6 or 7 teams in the Premiership. We're talking about the Premiership here being blown away by that sort of attack.
Dean Ryan did effectively say post-match they were just too hot to handle. So how does a side like Worcester bridge that gulf in class?
I think ultimately it needs to be immediate, and ultimately you can't do much about it because a lot of it's to do with personnel. Quins have just got better players in key positions. But actually for now you talk about defensive organisation. We saw loads of enthusiasm and physical commitment from the Warriors, which is a great sign for Dean Ryan. But actually people need to be in the right position as often as possible and not give away silly penalties, and we call them silly, but it's so difficult against an attack like that.
Not easy. OK, the other game on Friday night was at the newly named AJ Bell Stadium in Salford. Sale's early season form had been of the fluctuating variety, and they took on the winless Wasps. Here's how it went.
Danny Cipriani has always been a headline act, but rarely has he stolen the show quite as spectacularly as he did for Sale on Friday night. Introduced from the replacements bench midway through the first half, after Nick McLeod picked up what looked like a nasty arm injury, Cipriani didn't take long to make his mark. This penalty, the first points of the match against his former club Wasps. And after Andy Good had levelled things up, Cipriani was again involved, with the vital pass to set up Mark Cueto for the first try of the game. By half-time it was 13-3 to Sale, and Cipriani was relishing his unexpected opportunity. He added a try of his own 6 minutes into the second half, eventually awarded by the TMO. Sale was 17 points ahead, but it was far from over. When these teams met at the end of last season, the Sharks won by just 1 point, and this game too would be close in the end. With Sale driven back, Ashley Johnson emerged from the back of a maul to narrow the gap. And although Cipriani added another penalty, Wasps were edging their way back into the match. Sale began to lose their discipline, and the referee awarded a penalty try. By now, Wasps believed they could rescue their first Aviva Premiership win of the season. The home fans were becoming more and more nervous, and with good reason. Josh Bassett moved Wasps to within 1 point with his team's third try, and that meant a conversion from Good would give Wasps the lead. But he's had one high-profile miss already this season, and this one drifted just wide. Fittingly, Cipriani had the last word. After being left out of the first 2 games, this was the perfect way for the former England star to launch his season. 21 points for him in a 26-22 win for Sale.
Played well in the second team and trained hard and come on and did the job. You know, he won the game for us, so really pleased with his performance.
Obviously we're very disappointed. I thought Sale deserved to win the game. We made far too many basic errors and made it really hard for ourselves. On occasions our skill level was just not good enough really.
I think first half we played reasonably well, and second half we took the game away from them, and Wasps being the side that they are, they've shown the last 2 weeks they've fought right to the very end, and they certainly did that tonight, so pleased with the 4 points, but a lot to work on.
Chris and Simon are the new generation of rugby supporter. Not only do they have a nice figure-hugging lycra appeal on their chests, they also come here with these stooly, steppy type things for a new and improved high-definition viewing experience. That's great, boys. Do you mind if we borrow these? No problem. That one may not survive the next couple of minutes, but we'll wait and see.
If it survives him, it will survive me.
Danny Cipriani, one of rugby's great conundrums. He wasn't picked in the squad for the first 2 games. He had a match-winning performance at Sale on Friday night. What would you do with him if you were his DOR?
Treat him like every other player. You don't overmanage somebody because he's talented. He's come into the team, put in a great performance, but where's the surprise? We all knew he was talented. If he consistently produces that high level of performance and he consistently puts his body in the way of the opposition and shows courage, he will play a lot of rugby under Steve Diamond. If he doesn't, he won't. He engineered Wasp's downfall on Friday night. What have they got to do to swing the pendulum in their favour? They've had 3 narrow defeats on the trot. I think not panic. They've got Andy Good there running the show on the field now, and he's got so much experience. He knows how to win. He knows how to get teams in the right positions, and he's got the talent to do that. So I think they've got a decent front 5 that can match any team in the Premiership now. They've got finishers out wide, we know that, and with Good there running the show, I think they'll be just fine. I am amazed that that thing has survived the last couple of minutes with what is upon it, but that was magnificent. Let's now take a break. When we get back together again after that break, we'll see whether the Chiefs got any change from their trip to Reading, and we'll have the full story from Welford Road. Sit tight. Welcome back, good to have you with us as we watch Toby Flood preparing to make his Premiership debut of the new season. Of course, he got injured pre-season, the head injury, and had an enforced 2-week layoff. We'll see what happens here at Welford Road after we paid a trip to the Medeski Stadium, where London Irish actually hadn't lost a game since December last year. The Chiefs were the latest team to try and end that run.
Fly half Gareth Steenson's been one of the most reliable kickers in the Aviva Premiership this season, and early on at the Medeski, his accuracy gave Exeter a 9-3 lead. But Irish, despite losing fullback Topsy Ojo to injury in the warm-up, got the game's opening try, as a period of pressure ended with Nick Rouse going over. Another injury setback saw Halani Alika replaced before half-time. But early in the second half, scrum half Hayden Thomas's pass was intercepted by Bryn Evans, and Exeter were in trouble. With Tom James in the sin bin, the Chiefs were a man down. Irish were able to recycle the ball, and play eventually switched from one side of the pitch to the other, before Ojo's replacement Alex Lewington played the final pass to Marland Yard, who scored his 4th try in 3 Premiership matches. Ian Humphrey's conversion and a penalty gave London Irish a 23-12 lead, and that should have been enough. But another successful kick from the ever-reliable Steenson was followed by a yellow card for the Exiles' John Yapp, and while he spent 10 minutes on the sidelines, Exeter turned the game on its head. First captain Dean Mumm got his 2nd try of the season, which Steenson converted to move his side to within a point. And what could have been a comfortable victory turned into a demoralising defeat for London Irish when Ben White found a gap and made the most of it. With the conversion from Steenson, Exeter had scored 17 unanswered points to grab an unlikely win, but Rob Baxter was happy to take it, whatever the circumstances.
Sometimes it doesn't feel like it matters too much how you win away from home, because they're precious things in the Premiership, and they're kind of ultimately what tend to make the difference at the end of the season. So we're really pleased with the win. No, we've weathered a few injuries over the last month or so, and we're ticking along and we're collecting points. You know, 2 wins out of 3 games, 2 of them away from home. You know, you'll take that at the start of the Premiership.
I guess it was a dramatic contest for the supporters. For us, we're obviously we're bitterly disappointed we didn't defend an 11-point lead in the last 20 minutes. So come away with a bonus point. So we feel we let 3 very valuable points slip by today.
So that was the story at Reading on Saturday afternoon, but here at Welford Road on paper, this piece of paper, the team sheet, it looked like the tallest of orders for Dean Richards, John Wells and their Newcastle Falcons. But taking anything for granted in this league these days is a dangerous game to play. Martin Gillingham described the action.
Leicester wheel out 3 of the big guns for the first time this season. Toby Flood, Ben Youngs and Manu Tuolangi all start. Jamie Gibson and Blaine Scully make their debuts. The Falcons will hope to draw on the familiarity with Welford Road of former Tiger Kieran Brooks in the front row, while Lot Carlo del Fava is a veteran of 54 international appearances for Italy. Dean Richards has good reason to remember the last time Newcastle won here 16 years ago. It was his last appearance in a Tigers shirt. The Falcons line already under pressure. Here goes Waldrum. Waldrum just held up half a metre short. There's Youngs, they'll look to recycle it. That's Briggs lurking on the fringes. So too Mullapola, Kitchener onto Crane. The Tigers have the first try. And it goes to Jordan Crane. Well, they had so many options. A two-handed take from Slater. There's Waldrum onto Tuolangi through 2 tackles. There's a third. Still going Manu Tuolangi. What a return. And there goes Kitchener. Graham Kitchener, his first start of the season. And the Tigers are already half the way to the try bonus point. But look at the sheer muscularity. No sign of that shoulder injury which held him up. And Kitchener, the man who profits. Welford Road remains the ultimate test of character and nerve for any visitor in the Aviva Premiership. Even when, like Dean Richards, you spend almost half your life here. The men in white know they have to take every opportunity that comes their way, and they've got a penalty coming now. The Tigers guilty of side entry. So Rory Clegg. And that very comfortable for the fly half, and Newcastle are on the board. There's Fury onto Barrow. Barrow through the attempted tackle of Jordan Crane. He's got York alongside him. Blaine Scully apprehends his man. They've still got it though of Newcastle, although Fury had to secure it. Well, the Leicester defence has had a chance to reorganise itself. Fitzpatrick back to Clegg, and Clegg adds the 3 points. Well, they've conceded 2 tries already, have Newcastle, but thanks to the boot of Rory Clegg, they remain within 6 points. A glorious early autumn day in the East Midlands. The sun hanging over the Crumbie stand. And there is Youngs. Onto Flood. Bowden, grey hands from Bowden. Tuolangi out to Scully. Scully in space. And what a start to the Californian's career in the East Midlands. He only arrived a few weeks ago, survived the trial. Now he's got a short-term contract, and maybe he's got an even brighter future. With Dan Cole just on, Leicester still have 2 of Warren Gatland's Lions on the bench in reserve. They may not need him though. That was a great offload from Coniva. That's Waldrum. There's Youngs. Flood. The defence is stretched. Kitchener. Oh, what a great offload to Bowden. Half an hour remaining, and Leicester have the try bonus point. Such fluency from Leicester. They really are thriving in the conditions. Young's on the Flood. Good to see Flood back after that nasty knock on the head in that pre-season game against Ulster. The offload from Kitchener, and Bowden in acres of space. A little bit of the urgency has gone out of Leicester in this second half. But this is another chance. There's Waldrum. A familiar sight. Green rumbling forward towards the try line. Waldrum. And that is try number 5. Leicester have delivered to the faithful. And it's Thomas Waldrum who gets the score. So Dean Richards' trip down memory lane has probably taught him little he didn't already know. The Tigers' jerseys are a bit greener than the ones he used to wear, but the powerful and uncompromising personality of the team that wears them, all too familiar.
Ben, good to be back playing again?
Yeah, very much so. Obviously, a lot of us making our first game back of the season, so the lungs were a little bit sore towards the end there, but no, great. And Newcastle were, first half we were a little bit sloppy, well, very sloppy actually. I think we had sort of 8 turnovers, so we got their second half, and we managed to get the 5 points, which is the most important thing.
They say home is where the heart is. Is this still your rugby home?
No, but rugby home's up in Newcastle, isn't it? This is where I was brought up. Well, in fact, it was about 15 miles from here, but this is where I played all my rugby. I've got a lot of fond memories here, but you move on, don't you? And 22 years came to an end in 2004. So I think it was 2004, 2005. So, and there's a long, a lot of times passed since then.
So in the end, a comprehensive victory for the defending champions here at Welford Road. And do you think the returning players had the impact that the DOR sitting up there in his box would have hoped they would have had?
Ultimately, it was their first game back, so their lungs looked like they were burning. At half-time, we watched Benny Youngs come in. He was really blowing. It was always going to be the way. He had an impact. He was a running threat around the breakdown. Toby Flood, just his communication. I mean, seeing it live, his communication is just outstanding. It's so clear and so loud. He had a good impact. I think Manu Tuolangi is on a different level. I mean, this is his first game back. My goodness. I mean, it actually looked unfair to have him carrying ball against top elite professionals. He was that powerful. Jamie Gibson coming in on the blind side. Young bloke, really impressive. Yeah, really good game.
Okay, and Newcastle's, didn't disgrace themselves, did they? Because at the beginning of the game you thought, my God, there's going to be 50 points, 60 points. But their defence, by and large, leaked a few times, but there's reason to be hopeful.
I think the real good thing for Newcastle is that Leicester had to work hard to grind that victory out. It wasn't easy. The scoreline makes it look like it was easy. But as you say, 20 minutes, 25 minutes in, we thought they could get a right pace thing here, and they didn't. They're a very tenacious bunch. They've got a couple of really big units up front who really dig in. And you know what? They look together. They look a good squad. It's just there's a real gulf in quality, and that's expected.
And you appreciate a good unit and a big unit, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I like that. OK, next up we're going to head to the West Country, where Gloucester were trying to record their first win of the season at the third time of asking, as they took on the in-form Saints. That's coming next. It was a case of contrasting fortunes for the two teams who met at Kingsholm on Saturday afternoon. Northampton had hit the ground well and truly running, whereas Gloucester had hobbled into the new season. But could the form book be relied upon? Talking us through all the key moments of this one were Austin Healy, Ben Kay and Nick Mullins.
Nigel Davis's policy of giving all three of his scrum halves a go right at the start of the season means Jimmy Cowan's first start sets up a delicious contest between the All Black and Khan Foto Aliti. Change in the second row, a first Premiership start for young Elliot Stook. It's not often a coach has the luxury of picking from a fully fit squad, but Jim Mallander's not far off here. He's chosen to give one of last season's star men, winger Jamie Elliott, a first start this season. Luther Burrell, last Friday's man of the match at the Stoop. It's part of a backline full of the sharpest of knives. What about the Saints line out to the front and Christian Day looking forward to a season without injury. Burrell on the bounce. He's had a storming start to the season, as has Wilson. Get the ball away quickly here and there are real opportunities. Gloucester have done well to slow it down though. They've got the defence back. Plugged the hole impressively. Hole initially blasted open by Burrell, who was on the ball again just then, and Murphy clearly offside. Through the hands of North rather quickly. This is Foden. Foden's going in. First time in the match that they've run the ball through the hands with any real menace, and they puncture the cherry and white defence.
Gloucester do well initially, but look at all the defensive numbers on the left-hand side. They needed to be working round to this side where the ball came. Again, a little bit of fortune as it bobbles through. Myler taps it on, and at that stage they had an overlap, and Foden just picked his hole.
Rupert Harden offering us a little bit more than we need to see on a Saturday afternoon. Anyway, we'll get that sorted out. Cowan, Burns, chip through, it's got to be a try, and it will be scored by Trinder.
No, he's knocked it on, hasn't he?
Just drops it down. You can see two runners coming through. Trinder gets there first, and it just bobbles as he's diving.
Time off.
Burns to 12 trees. Trinder again offered himself, but it's come back to Burns. Oh, that was beautiful. Really lovely stuff. And the try is scored, is it? Has Sharples got the ball down? He thinks he has.
Burrell commits to the big hit on 12 trees, who's been running that line all day and getting the ball. This time it goes behind his back. They work the ball to the outside, and Sharples does enough to finish it.
Set! Yes, 9.
penalty. Cherry and White's taken quickly by the All Black Cowan. 12 trees, stretching for the line, scoring the perfect start to the second half.
Take a bow, Jimmy Cowan.
Yeah, I've got you, Foxy.
Just reacted the quickest.
Checking the last pass.
Cowan's away so quickly. His hands go backwards. Nothing wrong with that.
Foxy?
Yes, Graham.
Yeah, you may award the try.
Confirmation from our TMO, Graham Hughes. 30 out of 30 lineouts at the start of Northampton's season. Will this one lead to an immediate response and another Saints try? Blood and thunder and muscle and determination. And Paul Burton on the far side, the touch judge, is convinced that's a try.
Graham?
Yeah, got you, Foxy.
Try yes or no, Graham.
Try yes or no, OK.
Thank you.
The fourth official, the TMO, has to see the ball grounded, which we do, fortunately.
Yeah, Foxy, may award the try.
Cheers. Release! Stay on your feet, stay on your feet. Back
Marvin
foot,
keeps it alive for Gloucester.
Steady, steady.
Callum Mahoney. Cowan, 12 trees. Oh, Trinder was calling for it back inside. Instead, it was Ngera.
Come on, 22! Advantage.
Cowan knew the advantage was coming. Penalty going against George Peacey to retake the lead. They liked it right from the moment it left the yellow kicking team. This is full-on stop at Kingsholm. Savage again. The West Country roar. They're looking for a try that might secure the game. Morgan with the latest of bursts. Cowan, Burns, options out wide. Simpson, Daniel. Ball out, try. And maybe the game, and look who scored it. Elliot Stook. He'll bottle that roar and remember this moment for as long as he lives.
See Northampton rush up, they're trying to get the pressure on with that left-footed step, and then he goes back out, and as the last few defenders come in, he slots the ball between them and delivers it behind the back. And he keeps his cool and just dives for the line before Foden can get underneath.
On.
Just 2 minutes to eat up now, though, for the Cherry and Whites. Simpson Daniels back on his knees. 12 trees, North. Trinder chasing. Goes beyond Trinder, goes beyond May. He's got 12 trees now. Goes beyond 12 trees, up to halfway. Foden, oh, Clark, oh no, Elliott. This will be one of the scores of the season, right at the start of the season. Made in Wales, finished in Northampton. That was brilliant.
Graham, can you hear me? Unbelievable footwork. Graham, unbelievable. Forward in midfield, just in on the 15.
Look at the reaction of the other Saints players
Checking
going
the
to the
pass.
TMO.
OK.
And every neutral around the country, I suspect, is hoping that this try is given, because it was just a try of such sublime quality. There was the ball.
It's definitely backwards. It's
it's flat. It's not backwards.
Well, yes, momentum pass. It's exactly what we've been talking about for 2 years. The hands go back. The player continues to move forward. When he catches it, he's still in front of Elliott when he catches it. It's a definite.
Here we go. Graham Hughes has made up his mind.
Foxy.
Yes, Graham.
You may award the try.
Thank you.
That's why rugby was invented. That's why we love the sport. That was magical. Myler taking as much time as he's allowed to take with this kick. 30 seconds on the official clock. Myler completes the job, completes the 7-point score, and it was worth 70. Morgan trying to control it. Northampton coming through. Penalty!
Here, Morgan here, just slightly miscontrolled. You can see it looks like it's bubbling out now.
That ball's
Did it
out.
come out?
That ball's out, guys. This is an absolute travesty.
has got it. 12 Trees has made sure that Gloucester avoid their worst ever start to a Premiership season.
We were worthy winners at the end of the day, but that doesn't take away, you know, how composed my team were from the kick-off to actually, you know, get something out of the kick-off, then the scrum. And I thought, you know, that was a fantastic scrum by us. We were on the front foot there, and then Billy had to step up and nail it, which he did.
What we've got to do, as I said before, is not blame the referee. We've got to look at our performance, and we've got to make sure that we improve on the little bits throughout the game. Gloucester were good. When you come to a place like Kingsholm, you've got to be very, very accurate in everything you do. The crowd do get behind the team. Referees sometimes make decisions which don't always go in your favour. You've got to be prepared for that when you go away from home. You've got to be very, very accurate.
So amongst the post-match debris here at Welford Road, amidst the rubbish where I think we probably belong.
I think so, yeah.
But reflect on that game at Kingsholm. They will be breathing a huge sigh of relief down the West Country.
Enormous. Having lost the first 2 rounds of the Aviva Premiership is bad enough, but having lost to Sale at home for Gloucester is unforgivable. And that's not a comment on Sale, it's because Gloucester do not like to lose to anyone at home. They needed to send a message to each other, to their management, to their supporters. They've done that. It took them a long time in the game to do it. They snapped it right at the end, but that's a massive, massive victory. And it turns what could have been a real problem down at Gloucester into what they will hope becomes a blip.
And Northampton, that's a minor prick in their bubble, isn't it?
It is. They're a top team. They're a top team full of top players, and they've lost very narrowly at Kingsholm. There's no disgrace in that.
People do that. OK, last in the queue for the Week 3 roundup is a trip to Allianz Park, where 2 of the unbeaten teams, Saracens and Bath, met on Sunday afternoon. That's coming next. Welcome back. We were just keeping loose for the final part of this programme. And next up, we're going to Allianz Park, where Gavin Henson, he doesn't mind being centre of attention, does he?
No.
No. Well, he was certainly in the spotlight on Sunday afternoon because Saracens were offering Bath supporters their money back if the Welshman scored a single point. That's quite risky, wasn't it?
Well, I can't see anyone's marketing ploys playing too full a role in game prepreration and game plan, can you? Good for the neutrals.
I can't really think. I'm actually breathing too heavily. Anyway, that was just one of the many subplots involving a game between 2 sides who had excellent starts to their seasons. Saracens against Bath, commentated by Austin Healy, Ben Kay and Alistair Eakin. Keep up.
Ritz, that's disrupted very, very well by Bath, but Makavunapola straight on top of it. And this is looking threatening from Sarries. Billy Vunapola takes the contact. Wigglesworth whips it away. Out from Farrell. Good in the line. Strackles streaking in, and he'll go all the way around. Saracens open the scoring. Simple, quick handling.
Excellent finish from Saracen.
Wigglesworth away to Farrell. Goes crossfield looking for Ashton. Underneath it is Biggs and Watson. Bit of a miscommunication. And here comes Saracens through Good. Stepping back in field and into Tom Biggs. Trouble again for those in blue, black and white as Billy Vunapola is sent on the charge. 5 metres out. Saracens attacking again. Ashton off his wing. Farrell to Mako Vunapola. Again, options each way for Wigglesworth. Bath have slowed it up just a little bit. Billy Vunapola again, so close, just a metre out. Wigglesworth away for Good, who will score on his return.
All comes from the initial spill of the kick between Biggs and Watson. Watson needs to be telling Biggs, either your ball, give him confidence, or mine. Scream for it so he knows exactly who's coming. They turn it over, and then it's all about the momentum. Look at Billy Vunapola here, tying in those defenders.
Brits goes to Joubert. And again, they set them all, Saracens. Bath pulling it down. Looks like Hooper may have been the culprit, but it might matter not. Out it goes from Ashton, away for Strettle. Already on the try-scoring sheet this afternoon. Wigglesworth whips it away. That's not very clean. Claimed by Berger. And another penalty. It's beginning to rack up to something quite significant, this penalty count against Bath. And I think we're going to see a card.
Whether he gets it, Hooper was definitely on the floor. battering physically as well in terms of fitness, the Bath forwards.
Sarries have it.
Tripped over your own
And this
man
is
there.
looking a little bit more meaningful.
Tripped
Billy
over number
Vunipola
6.
pushed backwards initially by Houston, but then it's over from Stevens.
That is a great try, brilliant finish. A bit like American football.
Yes,
Remember
JP.
the fridge.
Any reason why
Chicago Bears.
Any reason
need
why
to
not?
jump
I
over
shall
that
check.
line of scrummage. Similar sized man jumping straight over the top and scoring an excellent try.
Yes, JP, you may award the try.
There's confirmation from David Sainsbury, and Saracens have their third try of the afternoon. Saracens looking for the bonus point before half-time. Wigglesworth fancies it himself. Just half a yard from the try line. And Berger has to pick up untidy ball, does well to feed it back. Vunipola is there. So he's cradling it now. And back it comes for Farrell. Skulk Brits throws the dummy, tries to get it away. Good hit from Rokodunguni, and then it's wide. Through Ashton, and away for Strettle, and a bonus point for Saracens. All in the first half. Strettle on target again. This man is on fire. Bath having to step up their defence here. Sarries keeping it tight for the most part. Hargreaves on carrying duty. Farrell out wide, and Rokodunguni has picked it up, and Rokodunguni is away, and he may well scorch down this right wing for a try. An interception by the Fijian. Alex Good and Chris Ashton won't pick him up, and Bath have something for their efforts, even if it came hugely against the run of play.
Three back.
Saracens have the line out on their own 5-metre line.
Free kick. I just told you not to throw that. I'm standing there saying do not throw it.
Jamie George threw the ball in when he'd been told to wait, and this is Garvey. Very close. Billy Vunipola underneath him. Not quite close enough. Youngs feeds it on for Atwood, who may just barrel his way over. Good work from Dave Atwood. Had quite a lot still to do. Young to Ford, inside ball.
No problem, no problem.
It's going to be tidied up here by Neil de Kock.
No problem.
And he will tuck it away. And that will do it for Saracens. 3 matches, 3 bonus point wins. A squad full of happiness as they head back to the summit of the Aviva Premiership.
We ran with real intent today, and you had people making really good decisions on the ball, when to offload, when not to offload. I think on the lead up to our bonus point try, Skulk Brits makes a wonderful decision underneath their post when he could have passed to Mako Vunipola, was tempted to and didn't, and we scored in the next phase. We made some really good decisions.
Adverse times happen in these games, as you know, and I think the important thing is that at 31-3, I think it was, we came back and we showed a lot of character, and I'm proud of the way the guys stuck in there, but it's obviously a disappointing loss.
So, after 3 rounds of the Premiership, the landscape looks like this. Saracens lead the way after their perfect maximum 15-point start and are now the only unbeaten side. The top 4 has a familiar look to it, but the season is still very much a toddler. Quite what the qualifying criteria will be for Europe next season and what the competition will look like, we don't know as yet. But today, Premiership Rugby and their French counterparts from the top 14 announced their new proposed competition would be called the Rugby Champions Cup. The race for Europe and whatever, guys, seems set to be as hotly contested as ever. And Wasps and Worcester, the only 2 sides yet to register a win, are keeping each other company at the murky end of the equation. So another weekend of compelling Aviva Premiership Rugby draws to a close, and as we head into a working week, David, give us some pearls of wisdom to mull over.
We've learnt that Quins are back, they're firing again on all cylinders. We've learnt that Northampton are beatable, they're human. Gloucester have rediscovered the art of winning. Exeter as resilient as we always knew they were. Incredible comeback at the Medeski. London Irish have started losing at home. They must not lose at home if they're going to avoid the relegation battle come the end of the season. And all that pressure that was piled on top of Gloucester has been lifted up and piled on top of Wasps. So 3 narrow losses, but losses all the same.
I've got one last big question for you, and it is a big question. Do you regret wearing that gilet in 20-degree heat in the Midlands?
Yes, I do, but I wore it at the start. I've had to keep it on for consistency, and I'm sweltering.
I think I admire that. It's a very good policy. OK, that's where we have to leave it for today. Don't forget to join us same place, same time. In fact, throughout the course of the Aviva Premiership season, Sunday nights, 8 o'clock on ITV4 and ITV4 HD. If you have high definition, we look even thinner. Enjoy your week. Bye for now.